JAC. I am the Messiah of Muay Thai, the Jehovah of Jiu-Jitsu, and the God of combat sports that I represent. And you are watching Drinking at Moe's.
All right, everybody, welcome to Drinking at Moe's. Host Big Mo here. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, turn on the notifications, because you know what? That really helps out the show. Leaving a review on the podcast platforms also helps. Today, I have with me a future stars champion, and looking like we got another belt there. JAC, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
That's awesome. I know I was looking up some of the stuff for doing my homework for the episode. The promotion, your future stars champion, that AML, that's looking like pretty solid locker room. I'm looking up the show posters and everything, and I'm like, holy crap.
We just did a big show at a baseball stadium in Gastonia this past Saturday. Me and the members of the Fighters Club, we were in the Rumble match. And you got guys like Beer City in the main roster, C.W. Anderson, other like big names like that, you know, guys that have been on television before. So,
oh, yeah. No, I was looking that up. And I mean, I became familiar with the promotion through talking with Beer City Bruiser. This was probably a couple months ago now. One of my dogs wanted to say hello, but yeah, he was talking about it. I'm like, wow. And then I look it up and saw a locker room, and I saw something about a streaming service. It was looking like, holy crap, you know, when, you know, all these promotions out there, a lot of them tied to one service or another. So for a promotion to, you know, have something to put all their stuff on definitely sets you apart from some others.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that way, like, the fans of AML can stay true. They can watch, you know, they have an option to watch us if they can't come to the show and stuff. And I know Future Stars, we're on the network, we're on YouTube as well, so they can watch it on there as well too.
That's awesome. You know, I know of another promotion, this one out in SoCal, they have their shows on YouTube. So it's always nice for promotions to have that place for, you know, people to come and watch the product, because, you know, not often, you know, you got people like me that for AML, you know, I'm familiar with, you know, Beer City Bruiser, having talked with him for the show. He comes out here, more Iowa area every now and then, comes out Midwest, and, you know, familiar with him through that. So to get a watch where he's at now, always a good thing. One thing I like to definitely talk with each of my guests with is what got you started as a fan, and then what got you started, you know, making the decision to get into the business.
Okay. As a fan, I always watched it. I didn't really get into wrestling until I was about 12 years old. I'm 23 now, but I would watch it with my dad, who had multiple sclerosis, and it was kind of like a thing to like get away from him being sick, you know. I definitely was like, I said this to Triple H when I had the tryout with WWE too. It was definitely a moment like where he didn't smile a lot during that time period. And, you know, to watch like The Rock return or like Brock Lesnar return and see that smile come across his face, it was something I knew I wanted to do, you know?
Oh, yeah. No, that's definitely something that professional wrestling can bring to a lot of people, is that escape from situations like that. I know I've had my own stuff similar, well, not different circumstances, by any means, but I've had my own difficult situations where pro wrestling provided that escape, or it was just that little, like, okay, that was awesome. You know, got to get a little bit of a smile out of it. So that's always a good thing.
Mm.
And what got you finally deciding to make the jump into the business?
I didn't even really know much about independent wrestling until I was about 21, 22, around that area. And my girlfriend at the time, her sister's boyfriend was a professional wrestler. And I was doing MMA at the time. And I was very like weird about doing wrestling because, you know, I was doing mixed martial arts. And so, and it was something I always had wanted to like do. It's one of the reasons I started doing MMA, because I thought, well, because Ken Shamrock, he talked about it, he said, if you do mixed martial arts, is an easier way to get to professional wrestling and to WWE. And that's my goal. So, and I was talking to him about it. And then I wound up on my last weight cut for my last fight. I got pancreatitis and I was in the hospital. And it was like the 12th fight where something similar, like where the weight cut had happened really bad. And I was like, I got to change something. Yeah. And so I called him up and I said, yeah, I want to do this professional wrestling thing. And so I started training about 3 months after that at the AML Pro Wrestling Training Center in Winston-Salem and now I'm being trained by Beer City. Actually, he's one of my trainers now, which is really cool because he just came down.
Oh yeah, no, and I mean, you get to train under a guy like Beer City Bruiser he's been on those national TV stages. He's been all over the world, and to get to train under a guy like that's probably a pretty cool experience.
Yeah.
What has it been like? What is everybody has their own training style. What is it like training under him? What is his style like?
It's definitely, we do some Japanese stuff and a lot of Japanese drill, but it's also, he was trained by Harley Race. So we do a lot of traditional American professional wrestling as well. And just to learn the little things that matter inside of a match. It's what he harps on. And he's one of those people that are going to tell me, hey, you're not doing this. And he's not going to necessarily kiss my tail, you know, and he's going to tell me everything I need to hear, even if I don't want to hear it, because I'm stubborn. And so even if I don't want to hear it, he's going to tell me, you know, and that's the best way to get better. Because if you don't know the things you do bad, how are you ever going to, you know, get to where you want to be?
I could not agree more. Very true statement. And definitely when I talked with Beer City Bruiser for the show, he definitely came across as that type that, you know, he's not going to coddle you. He's definitely going to tell you what you need to hear, like you said, even if you don't want to hear it sometimes.
Yeah, and it's like he says, I'm not here to be your friend. He said, I can be your friend. He said, but I'm here to make you ready for TV. And that's what he's doing. He blows us up with cardio heavy, like the first hour and a half, which reminds me of back to some of the stuff I did when I fought MMA. And so it's got me into the best shape I've been in since in MMA. And so, yeah, it's phenomenal.
Well, yeah, and you bring up, you know, having fought MMA, and there are some similarities. What was the transition like for you? Because there's been some notable names that have gone from MMA to professional wrestling, and some from professional wrestling into MMA and then back. You know, it's been a transition for a lot of people. What was it like for you?
It was actually like really like hard. And I expected it to be easy because like I'd done it and I was like training every day, like 8 to 10 hours in the gym, you know, when I fought MMA. So I was in decent shape, you know, I think so. And so I thought it'd be really easy, but learning how to run the ropes and how to take bumps and stuff, it was not natural to me because I was so used to like fighting back against stuff. So having to like take a bump was really difficult. And then I could not get running the ropes for like 6 months into my training. And then now, you know, I can run the ropes. But for a while, it was the most confusing thing to me. And I'm not naturally an athletic person. So like forcing athleticism upon me is something I have to do. And so it's like those countless hours, like doing box jumps and stuff like that in the gym, like really helped out with my professional wrestling training.
Oh, I can imagine. And that's one thing when it comes to training for professional wrestling that a lot of people don't seem to realize is, they think of, oh, that old mentality of, oh, that stuff's not real, right? It's like, hop in there and do some of the stuff you see them doing and, see how you react to that, right? Because I know the little bit in a pro wrestling boot camp that I got to do, they kind of gave us a crash course and they let us run the ropes. They get a couple bumps in, and I'm telling you, in that one session, I was walking funny for about a week.
Yeah. For my thing, when people call it fake, I fought MMA and I've done this. It hurts a lot more than MMA ever did. We take all the falls. We hit the ropes. The first time I ever hit the ropes, especially like at the WWE tryout, my whole back was purple. That never happened fighting MMA. I broke my nose doing professional wrestling, not MMA. So it's just people can say it's fake all they want to. It's not. It hurts.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I always like to tell people whenever I hear that. It's like some of the stuff, you see it at times that camera angles kind of give away certain aspects, but hey, sorry about that. Dog wanted up. Okay. But okay, where I was going with that. The other aspects where, taking those bumps, running those ropes, is like that stuff, the damage that you take, there's no real way of air quotes faking that.
No. Like anybody that wants to say it's fake, just get in the ring with me. We'll see how fake it is. Yeah. I'm a true belief the way it was like back in the 70s and 80s, the way Harley Race was taught. He was in the circuses and stuff, and he would fight people in the ring. I'm in a true belief. If you're a champion in this sport, you should be able to back up that you're a bad man. So, like, if you really think it's fake, get in the ring with me. I'll show you how fake it is.
Oh yeah, no, I'm with you there. And I mean, I like to think of it like, oh, we've seen, interviews where, one in particular that keeps popping to mind, Vader, when he was doing an interview and a guy tried to talk to him about it being fake, and he kind of just roughed up the reporter a bit. Or, they did a whole dark side of the ring on the whole John Stossel thing where, almost broke his nose or something. You think it's fake. Yeah. You just look at stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Other promotion that I've seen you involved with is All or Nothing, where it was interesting because some of the videos I've seen, I'm like, is that wrestling in a mall? Because you don't really see that too often, where it's like, if you really think about it, the success that, one of the storied Nitro episodes, it started off at the Mall of America, and First Wrestling just had a show there. And you really think about it, you can draw in a large amount of people to the mall that'll be like, oh, there's wrestling? I want to check this out. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely down at AO. And we draw good crowds too, like at the malls too. And that's a fun show. Like the people there, they're very invested into professional wrestling. So it's fun to tell them. And I don't really care for Pennsylvania. I think it's a trashy place. But so it's easy to go down there and, like, be honest with them about it,
One state I haven't been to, I've been to the entire western half. I need to start working East Coast, but I think I've only ever flown through there. So, but you mentioned the shows being fun. what is it like for those shows? Because you mentioned, fans invested, and you get like I talked about with you're able to draw in those crowds that might just be like they were thinking of just going to the mall for whatever reason, and then they see like, oh, and you draw in people that might not even have been originally thinking about
it. Yeah, they're like wrestle in front of people that like aren't wrestling fans is I enjoy more because that's a way that they can get invested. They can see, like, they can watch my greatness because it's undeniable in the ring. And so they can come and they can watch that. They're like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And it is. Professional wrestling is generally the most coolest thing in the world. There's nothing in the world's going to give you the experience of, okay, I'm at a theater, but I'm also at a sporting event. And I feel emotions that I've never felt in my life. And I have interaction with the athletes that you can't get anywhere else. So yeah, I think it's cool for that.
And that's one thing that I like with independent wrestling in particular, more so than national TV promotions, is you get that interaction with the fans more often. You hear about the house shows where, WWE, seems like the wrestlers are a little more free to do stuff, interact with the crowd. You get that on a show-to-show basis with independent wrestling. And, you can be front row for well over half the price.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the one thing that's cool. Like, AON, I know their tickets aren't that bad, but like down here, like in North Carolina, like AML, they're like, you can buy tickets for like $5, $5 to $7. Like, you can't beat that. You're getting guys that are like now on AEW. Like, we just had Brody King 2 weeks ago and the Acclaim, who's the World Tag Team Champions. Like, you can't beat $7 to get to see that,
Oh yeah. Like, you mentioned some pretty big names right now. Obviously, the Acclaimed, if you ask me, one of the most popular tag teams out there right now. Hard to argue it. And Jesus, who would have thought it would be anybody but them could get a phrase like "scissor me, daddy ass" over?
Yeah. No, then they're two cool dudes too. And then like we had the best tag team, I think, right now all time, FTR, back in August.
Yes.
And that was awesome. They did a seminar too, which was really cool learning experience.
Oh, I can imagine. You said one of the best ones out there right now. I mean, they're holding 3 different major promotions tag team titles. That says enough when that's those promotions' confidence in those people to go and represent them with those titles.
Yeah.
But one thing I like to go over with all the guests is, get them to know you outside of wrestling. Like, what is the day in the life like for JAC?
Oh, brother, this. So I get up at 4:00 in the morning, and I go and do my real job, which I'm a vendor for Canteen. And then I get done around probably like 3, 4, sometimes 5 o'clock. Then I'll go to the gym and I'll work out. And then I go to AML and I train for professional wrestling. My life is professional wrestling. Even if I'm at work, I got my earbuds in and I'm listening to podcasts, trying to learn. Because my goal is I want to be the greatest to ever do this. I think if you're not wanting to do that, you shouldn't be in this business. So I'm chasing it as hard as I can every single day. Me, Clara, and David Parrish, the members of the Fighters Club, that we all have the same goal, so we all push each other. We all go together every single day.
Oh yeah, no, that you make a very good point. If you're in a business like professional wrestling, if you're not wanting to be that top guy, then what the hell are you even doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, 2 categories I have that I like to go over with everybody. One's a bit of a name game where I name off some people. And today with you, I'm going over some people that have that I noticed through the AML roster page.
Okay.
And you give me your thoughts. First one, a guy that I'm a particular fan of, Cole Radrick.
Okay. He's not there that much anymore, so I think he's doing some great stuff in GCW, but I think he's done like 2 shows with AML, so I don't personally know him that well. Can't really make a comment about how I feel about him.
Well, that, fair enough. Next one we kind of mentioned a little bit about, C.W. Anderson.
I've worked him. I've wrestled him. I want to wrestle him again. He punched me in the mouth. I'd like to punch him back in the mouth and get my receipt. So, yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to in the future.
Definitely. And I mean, he's definitely had a storied career. One of my personal favorite matches of his was, within that last little bit there in ECW, the I Quit match with Tommy Dreamer. Mm-hmm. I could watch that over and over.
Yeah. I know me and my tag partner, David Parrish, like wrestling the Extreme Horsemen is a big goal of ours because they right now hold the world titles for the tag team championships in AML. And we want those world championships. It's the only legit world championship right now in AML. It's been defended in other countries. And so that's something that we've been eyeing for a while. And it's something we're definitely coming for.
Oh, awesome. And I enjoy getting to see that potentially happen someday. Next one, I don't know how often she's performed there at AML. But like I said, I just noticed she was on the roster page there on the website. Jordan Grace.
I've never met her. No, take that back. She was at WrestleK last year. I met her at WrestleK. She's a phenomenal athlete. You know, with her impact schedule and that stuff, she's not at AML that much. It's normally like a 1 or 2 year type thing. But yeah, phenomenal athlete for sure.
Oh yeah. No, I can imagine, especially now with her schedule being their Knockouts champion, you know, probably even busier than normal.
Oh yeah.
Next one, a guy I've talked with, Beer City Bruiser.
My trainer, he is a mentor. I consider him a friend. He means a lot to me. Definitely somebody I'm dying to get in the ring with to show him that we're the future. You know, Fighter Club's the future of professional wrestling. JAC's the future of professional wrestling. And I'd love to have a good big man match with him.
Oh, yeah. No, that would definitely be entertaining because just even seeing pictures of you from shows, I'm like, damn, like you mentioned even before, I'm like, okay, he seems very MMA inspired, and to find out, you know, the whole having fought MMA is like, okay, that makes sense. And that seems like a style that would mesh well with him in a match for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. We got to do a little bit of an interaction this week at the Rumble. Very small. He chopped me, so I'm dying to chop him back.
Yeah. No, he seems, I've seen him in some of his chops, and oh boy. Next one, I got a little bit of a random question round. You know, you give me answers how you see fit. Some of them might be wrestling related. Some of them might not be. You know, you just answer how you see fit. First one, craziest in-match moment.
Okay, so this is like the week after the WWE trial. I got forearmed right in the nose. My nose like almost like split in half. And it was like probably halfway through the match. And like I remember the ref looks at me and goes, "Dude, are you okay? You need me to stop?" I said, "If you stop this damn match, I'm gonna punch you in the face." And so continued going to the match. Yeah, that match was wild. And to watch the fans just look in horror. Yeah, that was a pretty wild moment. And then I did a superplex one time at Firestar Pro Wrestling in Greensboro to the outside with a dude onto the floor. and like all these security guards are there, and all these other guys in this match are there, and none of them catch me. They catch the other guy, but none of them catch me. So landing on the concrete like that crowd lost their mind.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I'm hurting kind of just hearing that one. I've seen some crazy maneuvers to the outside before. I know one of my best friends was in a ladder match where they bridged the ladder between the guardrail and the ring apron. And I'm on the opposite side, and I'm like watching. He has him up on his back, and then he jumps. And I'm like, and before I know it, ladder folds, and I just see him disappear. I'm like, you know.
Wow.
Oh,
yeah, I think I've done 2 ladder matches now, and every time I'm in them, I'm wanting to kill the promoter for letting me be in this match because I'm not a fan of heights. And so, like, and then I'll watch, and the ring's always, I've won one, and then the other one we went for the tag belts and I got screwed out of. But I won one, and like every time I go up the ladder to climb, I'm like, God, I hope nobody comes in here, you know?
Yeah, because people don't really realize, in the ring, it's not like just a firm, flat surface. There is some bounce to it. So when you get a ladder in and you're trying to, keep it steady, and you get a little wiggle there, and I can only imagine the further up you get on the damn ladders that, whew.
Oh yeah.
Next one. Might have gotten a little hint to the answer on this one there, but what is a match type you would like to avoid?
Ladder matches. That's really, I wouldn't avoid anything. I'm willing to do whatever, but yeah. That one is definitely the one I just don't like. I've done war games matches, I've done hardcore matches, I've done ladder matches, and I'd much rather take a tack bump than ever climb up a ladder.
No, but understandable. Like you mentioned, not being able to do whatever, but if you, like you said, if you had a choice, that's one that you'd like to not have to do if you had a choice in the matter.
And those big scaffolding matches they used to do in ECW, like the one where New Jack threw that guy off and he about died.
Oh yeah.
I'm never going to be caught doing any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't do that. Sure.
Yeah. Oh boy, especially some of those old school ECW scaffold matches where it's those scaffolds didn't really look that steady, and it looked like at any time one of them could have just slipped off.
Yeah.
Next one. What is your favorite drink, alcoholic or not?
When I did drink, I don't really drink anymore. It was JAC and Coke for sure, and that probably still would be. But let's see. I really like right now. I'm really into, what's that drink with the Swedish fish thing, Claire?
The ghost Swedish fish.
So the Ghost Energy Swedish fish Swiss drinks, I really love those, dude.
Interesting. I might have to keep a lookout for that one. I've seen some other varieties of those. I swear I saw a Sour Patch Kid one somewhere.
Yeah. I make this joke all the time. I drink enough energy drinks and caffeine a day probably to kill a baby hippo. So I'm very particular in my caffeine.
Oh man, that just.
Well, I'm telling you, when you only sleep 4 hours a day, you got to do what you got to do.
Oh, yep. No, I can relate all too well. When I was on deployment, there were times where you really didn't get a whole steady amount of sleep. You had me, I had my primary job, I had my secondary job, and at one point I was up for 4 days straight, not even getting to lay down. And yeah, caffeine was my friend to put it lightly.
Yeah.
Another question. What is the best advice you'd have for somebody getting into wrestling?
What somebody tell me that, hey, don't do it. No, definitely come into it willing to learn. Don't have an ego. The ego checks out of the door immediately. It's not about you. Is a big one. And just making sure that you know that it always still needs to be fun. Too many guys in this business nowadays come into it and they train for a little while and they love it, but then something happens, maybe some drama or some crap that really doesn't matter, gets in the way and it's not fun for me anymore. And at the end of the day, like you're doing this because you wanted to do it when you were a kid, so that's why you do it. But just always have that in the back of your mind.
Definitely good advice. You always want to have fun with it because, that's like you kind of mentioned when you're growing up and you're watching wrestling and you're like, damn, that looks fun. And then you get into it and you want to have that fun. And if you get to the point where you're not, that's probably your signal. It's time to hang up the boots.
Yeah, for sure. And work hard. Like if you're going to do it, put everything into it and don't make excuses. The worst thing I hear anymore is a bunch of excuses of why you can't do this or why you can't do that in wrestling. If you want it, you will go on the road. You will make the rounds. You would do the trips. You'll help set up as many rings as you have to set up and like to get the bookings and to eventually get a spot on the card. Then when you get that spot on the card, you have to actually perform, go to the training sessions, go to the seminars, learn. It's wrestling. If you really want it, you'll do all those things and it'll be easy. And it is.
Oh, yeah. And, you have, like you mentioned, the seminars and always being willing to learn, like you mentioned, it's the one thing when you go in, you could think all this stuff about wrestling in the world. Like, oh, man, I know how to pull this off. I know how to pull that off. But then you get in there, and I hear this so often that people, when they start training, they realize how little they actually knew.
Yeah. I've learned from so many people in this business. I just want to really name it just a few that have been big for me. So TIM, the Infinite Man Tim, was one of my first trainers. Josh Gary was one of my first trainers. Beer City Bruiser, TW Anderson, I've been to seminars for him. I've learned from Colby Carino. I've learned from all the guys when I had to try with WWE. I learned from Triple H, people like that. Regal has been one of the biggest inspirations to me. And at the tryout was a load of help. And I think the absolute world of him. You got guys like FTR. There's so many people you can learn from in this business. And you can find advice from LeBron Cozon's another one, Greensboro. You can find advice from all of them. Like, people might have their issues with those people, but there's something you can take away from that person,
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. And you mentioned some of the, we talked about FTR. You brought up another person, William Regal, one of the great minds of the business. And Triple H, look at the way that he's turning around WWE creative right now. It's once he took over as the head of creative, it's like I hear more often how people think WWE seems more watchable now.
Yeah.
And, it takes a great mind like his to turn something around where people, I've heard of people avoiding WWE, and now it's like, oh my God, they want to watch that again.
Yeah. And definitely guys guys like Samoa Joe too. When I was at the tryout, the biggest thing I can take away besides the stuff like the interactions with William Regal, because that was very special. But the biggest thing I could take away from the tryout was my conversation I had with him while I was leaving. He was, when you're in here, you're not worried about all these people for this tryout. You're worried about, and he points at Drew McIntyre. He said, that guy's a superstar and you want his spot. That's the guy you're worried about. And since that conversation, my mindset for wrestling has changed a lot because I'm not worried about the independent wrestlers. I'm not worried about the other TV guys. I want to be the guy, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm worried, but it's not me versus everybody else, but it's me versus me, and we can see how far this goes until I'm at the top of the throne.
Oh yeah, no, and that's a good mindset to have. You know, you got to, you know, when really anything, you want to be the best, and you professional wrestling, you find that guy that it's like, okay, that guy's the best right now. I want that spot. I'm gonna get it. And you, like you said, sometimes you got to realize there's going to be some hard work in there, and you know, sometimes it's not going to be easy. You know, all the traveling and, you know, being away for different things, but you know, in the end, all of the things that are worth it have hard work getting put into it before you have it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like the top guy right now, he's Roman Reigns. He just is. And all of wrestling is Roman Reigns. And, you know, I got small goals, of course, but of course I want to be in his position.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like even on PWI, he got ranked #1, you know. And there's great guys in AEW too, and I'd love to work there as well, like MJF and Hangman Adam Page and, you know, some of the guys that got released, but, or the guys that are in trouble right now too as well. But, like guys like John Moxley, Bryan Danielson, you know, Samoa Joe, Wardlow, big top guys in this business. And so like those are the positions I want to be in. I want to be in those matches for those guys because that way I can learn and get better, but not just that, to be on that level with them and be considered the best wrestler in the world. Like that's the goal long term, you know?
Oh yeah. And you know, you get on those rosters and get to be under the learning tree of those guys. And before you know it, you've been there long enough, you put in that hard work and, you know, you're getting that shot to be in that top spot.
Yeah.
Well, that is about all I have for tonight. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me tonight. And next, where can people find you as far as social media so they can get an eye on you?
Sweet. Yeah, I got Instagram is at JAC is a bad man. Twitter, it's at JAC is a bad man. TikTok, it's the same thing. Facebook, don't even worry about it. That's my private one, so please don't send me a request. But and then as well, I'd like to give a shout out to my fiance and my friend David Parrish on the members of the Fighters Club. My fiance stuff is at clarawrestling on Instagram. You can go follow her on there, and then you can go follow at Pro Wrestling David Parrish on Instagram and Twitter.
Definitely. When I get this up, we will have links to all of those in the description so people can go give all of you a follow.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But like I said, thank you for taking the time to talk to me, and best of luck, and look forward to seeing some of these future matches you're going to have.
Yeah, you're welcome, man.